This is Rockin' with J-Man. It was Chris Brown from Trapt. How you doing, man?
Awesome, man. Doing good. Just working on music, and we put out a new record. So we're a few months ago. So we're promoting that, and just waiting to, do some tours. Waiting to get the country open up, and so we can play new songs for fans. We played a few, but most cities are closed down, so just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, man, a lot of people want to tour. It's sad.
Yeah.
How have you been holding up during lockdown?
I've said my fair share of what I disagree with, and kind of I hate the whole lock everything down, even if the problems are only small parts of certain states, but it's good to see some other states opening up. So, like I said, we've done some shows, but mostly, for months, we're sitting at your house, so at least I know that me and my girl are totally tight because if you spend that much time with somebody, you got to like them, right?
Yeah, of course. I sit here with my entire family, and I don't think a day that I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I know you're a big Trump supporter. What do you think what's going on with all this craziness?
You know what? A lot of weird things seem to be happening in one side's favor, but there's no actual smoke and gov evidence of anything. I mean, there's been some glitches and some errors and voting fraud here and there. Um, but obviously all that has to be proven, and I think that it will be in the courts for a bit. Counting through votes and making sure that they actually were legit. So it's going to be a little bit.
I learned in school that you vote in person and show an ID to confirm it's you. Why did all that change this time?
Wait, say that again. The first part.
Um,
What
I
changed?
learned I learned in school that you vote in person and show an ID to confirm it's you. Why did all that change this
Oh
time?
yeah. Well, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way because it's easy to just send in a ballot of someone that is like your neighbor who you know moved or something, and you, you can use that, and it's like you don't need ID or anything. So I just think this year they don't want Trump in there. He's a guy who's not you know he doesn't have to rely on people and their money to be a politician, which every other politician has to do. So he's going to be the most independent guy, and some people don't like the way he thinks. Half the country does, half the country doesn't. So but at least the guy was going to do what he wanted, not what a bunch of other groups of people wanted him to do, which is every other president, so, and every other politician. So, hey, those 4 years, at least he got those 4 years. If he doesn't win this round, he's going to try again in 2024. But just the 4 years he's been in there, he's changed things for the for the good, for the
What
better, and for the long haul.
what you can go again if you were the president and you only got 4 years? Oh,
You
so
can
you
yeah,
can go
you
again?
can maximum 2 terms, so
Okay.
he can run again, and he will. I mean, he's going to do that. He's going to have rallies for 4 years, and be like, let's see you do the job, Joe.
Well, I might think that he might win by just kicking somebody out because of the sheet that's going on. I think that's why Trump might win.
Yeah, I'm keeping the faith.
Me too. Why do you think this election brought so much hate?
There's a mainstream media, and that mainstream media is owned by some of the richest people in the world that have a certain way of making money that they've put together over the last few decades, and Trump threatens that. I mean, that's the main thing. Trump threatens these lobbyists' way of making their money. Lobbying the government to do what corporations want them to do, rather than what Trump thinks we should do to put America first. So that's what it is. It's literally people who care about money much more than our country. That's that they own the big media companies and they're brainwashing people into thinking that Trump's literally Hitler. They say that he's Hitler. And it's like when you say things like that, you just lose all the credibility. I just ignore people like that, that say, just, oh, if you support Trump, you're a Nazi. It's like, okay, dude. I mean, you're not gonna ever speak to those people in a rational way. So I ignore them, or I say, hey, you're wrong. And if I see them picking on other people, then I've been known to maybe pick on them a bit.
Hmm. I don't wait. They think he's Hitler?
Yeah, they say it all the time. They call him Twitler. Twitter.
Oh,
They call his supporters Nazis. Just go all the way.
Do you think people will use this as an excuse to riot and loot?
What's funny is there's no rioting and looting right now, right? And Biden is winning, and Trump supporters aren't losing their minds. They're not burning and looting or any of that stuff. So I mean, you can see right there which is the more mature party, but I can tell you, if Trump pulls it off in the Supreme Court, and it's found that there was errors and there was fake ballots or whatever, then they will riot big time. The Democrats, the Antifa, those guys. BLM.
That might cause a civil war.
Yeah, but you know what? The Trump supporters have law enforcement, National Guard, and the Army on our side, for the most part. And maybe the leaders and the military, they're in the same. They make money off of the lobbyists and all that stuff. So they're part of that big old establishment that just has been making money for decades a certain way, and Trump threatens that. But I think that any rioting, it can be put down real fast, and it's crazy to me that mayors in these big cities, they allow it to continue and happen. And I don't know. I mean, maybe those people in the cities are okay with their cities burning down. I don't get it, but they keep voting for the same people.
Yeah, and it's stupid that why do they burn them? I don't understand why.
Oh yeah, because it looks crazy on TV. That's what.
Oh.
So like you see a building, that's the thing they do is they start a fire and burn it down, and it starts burning, and then it looks like the craziest ride ever. Really, when it was just like someone threw like a flammable thing in through a window, and then boom, that was one act, and then that makes the chaos look crazy, and then causes more chaos.
Yeah. Why do you think everyone is so mean to you this year?
Because I think I've been mean to people as well, but I've only replied to people coming after me, and they're coming after me because of the things that I say. It's like I'm a half Mexican guy who grew up mostly around Mexicans because my mom was Mexican in San Jose, California, and all of them worked hard and didn't say I'm a victim of white power or whatever, white supremacy, all that stuff. So in my mind, if you keep harping on white privilege, and if you're not white, you don't have that privilege. So you just, white people have to give up their privilege for you. It's like you're going to be stuck in that as a minority, Mexican, or a black person, or whatever, and it's just going to keep you down. So I just say, look, white privilege doesn't exist, and as soon as you believe that, you will stop thinking about it 24/7, and maybe you can put your mind into bettering yourself and getting a better job or learning more skills or whatever. But these people are stuck on this racism stuff. And the second that we as a country can just be Americans and not our identities first, Americans first, then all that will go away. But people use the racism card for power. So it's like I will advocate on the behalf of black people, but really it's just so that they can get into power because they don't really do anything. They just say they will every 4 years. And I call that out. I call it out, and I call out white liberals for being crazy and caring more about racism than actual black people who voted for Trump because they're ready to move on. It's been over 50 years since the Civil Rights Act was passed, and we changed the Constitution for our minorities. So it's like at some point we have to move on, you know. And I'm trying to push that forward, moving on, all races together, one America, you know, under our flag and under economic opportunities and jobs and all that kind of stuff and thriving, you know. But there's people who at the top would get money taken out of their pockets if we go the full way with what Trump wants. And so that's what they're making people hate him. I've had media do the same thing to me, and it's just because I'm saying the opposite of what mainstream media is saying, because I can see through the fakeness of it and the lies. So I'm gonna say something about it publicly, because I can't just sit there and see this and then do nothing about it. You know, I can't. It's just not in me to do that.
I think this is what they should do. They should just go to the person's grave that's driving them so crazy. Just like say, you were a good man, and just get it over with, and then just walk.
Yeah, you can't keep dwelling on the same thing, especially like people say, oh, there's black people dying in the streets by cops, but then you look at unarmed black men, and it was like 40 something in 2015. Last year 9. So that is an improvement over 5 years, not talked about, because they know that any improvement means, oh, well, we don't really have to worry about this so much because it's already improving. Then they lose their card that they play for power. They don't want to lose that, so they're going to keep pushing Americans to be divided, and they're going to keep telling certain black people who will believe it, and Hispanics and any other minority, whatever, that they are victims of a system where there's been black people and Hispanic people who have been very successful in this system that we have, you know? So it's an excuse, it's a crutch that will only hurt you if you keep dwelling on it. So I do what I can to make more minorities want to support the direction of Trump and America First and all that, you know? We want them to thrive just like anyone else in America.
Well, I don't think it's right. All people try and teach the youth not to bully anyone, and it's the same as bullying you. They're trying to teach you youth. I think it's hypocritical, actually.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy of liberals because no one else does. You know, the media lets them get away with everything, and Twitter is the perfect example of these people who think of they're great people. They're really good and they're really moral and they care about other people, but they say some of the worst things you can imagine about Trump supporters and Trump. So I saw that and I just got sick of it at a certain point, and I just started going after him myself, just giving them a taste of their own medicine and saying, you are just like who you say Trump is. So you're a hypocrite. Like I want to point that out, and I'm very impressed that you saw that you can see that.
Because they're just trying to say, well, no, Trump is this, but they're just being mean to. They're
They do the
like,
same thing. Yeah, it's like,
if you even
can you?
say, oh, Trump's like a really good guy, and they can be like, you're the devil. You get out of here right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's if everybody's thinking the way they're thinking, then they're happy. But if you think differently, they hate you. It's insane, man. So yeah, I want the average, like the independents in America, to see the left and the Democrats and the hypocrisy. So I don't know if they've seen it yet. I think half of them have. I think more than half of the independents voted for Trump. But just people that can at least, they're not so biased on one side or the other. Just going, one side just seems to be a lot more crazy and act like babies than the other side, and hypocrites and scream and yell and insult every word you can think of. Hitler, Nazis. I mean, I'm called Nazi all the time. And it's just like, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I want everybody to thrive, everybody to do well. So I don't know. I'll just keep on fighting the good fight.
It's not right that people attack you over opinion or what you believe in.
Yeah. I mean, look, I can admit that I can be harsh in a reply, and people will pick up on that and say you're a jerk for that. But it's like, I'm just trying to point out their hypocrisy. So if everybody wants to see just me doing it, again, it's the same one-sided hypocrisy. So that's all I want the industry that I'm in to admit. It's like, hey, I'm one guy against all these people who are angry at me for the first things my political beliefs, my social beliefs, and then second, me defending my band against lies, which I'll always do, and just the things that like if you're gonna say things about me or Trump supporters, or whatever, then I'm gonna point something out about you, so that you can see, that you're a hypocrite, but they don't see it. That they're allowed to do it, but not the other side. It's how it is on mainstream media too. So like Republicans are afraid of getting attacked by the same people, so they stay shut, they stay quiet. But Trump doesn't, and so he's the only guy. I mean, there's a few other guys, don't get me wrong, but Trump is got courage. That's it. He's got the courage to say, look, I don't care if you hate me for saying the truth. From what I see, and then half the country also agrees with me, and they don't have a voice, but now they do. Trump is the voice of half the country that the other half doesn't care about.
Nobody wants to debate no more. They just want to hate if you don't like the same things as them. That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like it's tribal. Like I'm in a tribe, and it's almost like the leaders of that tribe, the liberal Democrat tribe, whatever they say, that's what it is. It's like that the voters or their constituents don't even challenge them at all. So it's just like you see it even in like the politicians and Democrats. They very lockstep. The same media companies have the same stories. So there's some people at the top playing puppet master.
And it seems like the media use you during lockdown just so they could have something to write up, even if it was not true, like calling you biracial. No, wait, no, like calling you racist, but when you're biracial.
Yeah, exactly, right. But it's this. It's like, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, there was no doubt. But the whole point is, look, Trump's lost a lot of business because of him running for president and pushing for the things he liked to do, America first. But it's just like the rich people at the top, they'll lose money if Americans are put first. So that's the main thing, and then they're trying to use racial politics to keep the power instead of like talking about actual economics, because they know they'll lose if they say the truth. So they use a whole other thing, racial stuff, all that. And it's like, yeah, I think that these publications, there was nothing going on, no shows, no nothing. So the only thing was this Twitter stuff, which I knew was going to happen. And they're still covering everything I do. It started in March and it's still happening. It's like, anything that I post on Twitter and people jump in and try to gang mentality, gang up on me. They like to write about that. And it's like every time they write something, it's not, I don't know. It's like they're not saying anything that is too bad because they know they could get in trouble for that. But mostly, they're just saying, I don't know. They say I say racist things, but like it's the same stuff that Trump would say, and it's like there are actual Hispanics, like more than a third of all Hispanics, and 20% of Black people, or maybe 10%, Black people, or 20% of Black men, they agree with Trump, So I just don't see how the white liberals can make the argument that Trump's racist when he had like the highest people of color vote since 1960 for a Republican. So that shows you that there's not a racist part of this of the MAGA movement. It's every race, every religion, any orientation can be a part of the Trump movement. It's just love your country and put your country members first over profits, over foreigners. Put our own citizens first. I just think that's pretty reasonable, but that angers a lot of people.
They should focus on how your music is so great.
Right on. Do it.
Well, you proved your lyrics right. You are headstrong and you'll take on anyone.
I did write those lyrics.
Yes, and you have been proving them for a while now.
Put my money where my mouth is.
That song is awesome, and I know it's older, but I still hear it everywhere, though.
Yeah, man, I can't. I definitely think it's like the anthem for Trapped and the way I look at the world, you know. And I think that it's just a blessing for that song to. I don't care. I mean, it overshadows everything else because that song had the most money put behind promoting it. You know, every other song had a fraction of what that song got pushed. You know, so yeah, everyone's like, oh, they're only that band. So you know, if you like that song, you'll listen to some other stuff. If you don't, you'll probably not listen to anything else. So, but at the end of the day, I will never complain about having a big hit song, even if it does overshadow everything new that we've done. There's plenty of fans that love what we've done, and you know, I love playing shows for those people and playing new songs and all that stuff, and then knowing all the deep songs in the catalog and all of that, everything. There are thousands of fans like that, and it would, it wouldn't have happened, I don't think, without that song, you know, doing what it did. You know, so I mean, maybe it would have. We'd have the same fan base at this point. You know, just slowly grinding it out. You know, but you know, I love that song hit a lot of different people. You know, a lot of different types of people all over the country and the world.
Do you make so much money off that song that you can live off of it?
Yeah, we get about 5 million streams total per week across all the different platforms, and about half of that's Headstrong, and then the other half's like a bunch of other songs. Um, and it's we're very blessed to be able to have that kind of income coming in, so that we can pay for our own albums and pay for our own promotions and put money back into the band, and have that money to do that, because a lot of businesses don't have that, and so very very lucky, very blessed, and I feel like it's I can't have um, benefited so much from my country and people, having the right to make music and not having, just having the freedom to do that stuff, and not see things that are wrong and not say something. I'm just compelled to. My emotions just make me do it. I don't. You know. So, I'm glad that I have a platform where I can actually maybe make a difference in the way people are looking at Trump, and the truth, and the way that people are looking at the mainstream media and the things that they try to hide from people. I'm trying to use my platform to help with that.
Out of all the places you heard your music, like sporting events and TV and movies, what was your favorite?
Oh, my favorite was the first time I heard Headstrong on the radio. It was the end of 2002, and I was like back home for like Thanksgiving or something like that, or between Thanksgiving and Christmas or something. And we hadn't really even toured big time yet. I mean, we'd done a couple months here and there, but we were back for the holidays, and I was sitting in my little green van. Do I still have that? Yeah, I had whatever car I had. I think, yeah, no, I had like a Jeep Grand Cherokee or something like that at that point. And just sitting in my car with my buddy, and then the song came on. And I was like, "What? This is so cool." So that was that. I was like 22, yeah, 22, and
Yeah.
3 months away from like 23, and it was just like the coolest thing. I mean, to hear your song on the radio.
I love your new album, Shadow Work. What was it like writing new music again?
2018, 2017, 2018. A lot of the music was written going through stuff. Went through a crazy relationship that took a whole bunch of weird turns, and I found out a lot about myself throughout that relationship, and for the better, I think. And a lot of the songs come from what I've learned about me and why I may act certain ways emotionally, and trying to understand where everything comes from, and that's the shadow work, to accept that there's parts of you that are angry and want revenge and all this stuff, and you may be mean if if some of that comes out, but understanding where that comes from, you have control over it, and really the anger that the defense against hurt, the defense against potential hurt or pain, whatever, is more powerful than if you're running around happy all the time. I'll tell you that much, because the people who have a lot to prove work real hard, and then you see the people that are like already, at the top. They're comfortable and not as wanting to win. They've already won. So I don't know. It's just like definitely saw that other side of me, the shadow side that maybe I just don't think of, because whatever you think of who you are, there's an opposite part of you that is also in there, and you just gotta be able to, if like you're lazy all the time, um, you want to change that, right? But then there's people who work too much, and those people should be lazy sometimes, and it'll help them, So it's just a matter of understanding all that stuff, and a lot of these songs were about that self discovery, going inside versus going everywhere outside of you for your answers. I think the answers are right inside of you if you can explore those memories of who you were in the past and all that kind of stuff, and what you're getting angry at, because a lot of times the people in your life at a given time may trigger old stuff, old pain, when you were younger and all that kind of stuff, happens all the time, and I just got really into psychology and all that kind of stuff, and that's where a lot of the song ideas came from.
Fans really seem to love your new album too.
Yeah.
And the new music video for I Want To is awesome. It's a great song.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I know you just put out this album, but did you do any writing during lockdown?
Yeah. I met this great girl last year, April last year, and our relationship's really developing really well. And the last 3 songs I've written are basically love songs, and I don't think I've ever really written a love song like being in it. It's always like a breakup, or like why didn't this work out, and I'm sad about it, or like it was never like in love. And I had this song called "Think of You." So when I think of you, I don't think about myself. That's a gift. If someone gives you that ability where you love them so much that you just think of them, you don't even think about yourself. And you can't even help it. It's just a natural thing for you. And it's like I think I've been a lot more selfish in a lot of relationships in my past, and I think going through all that shadow work, it's opened up this whole new side of me musically. So I can't wait to get some of these newer songs out for people. It's gonna be great.
So you played a few shows since lockdown. What was it like?
We played a couple shows in one in Oklahoma. Yeah, no, in Oklahoma. One was close to Oklahoma City. One was closer to Dallas, but an hour away from both the major cities because the major cities aren't allowing it. But they were great shows. Man. We had like 300 people at both shows, and people were distanced and had then either outdoors or enough far away, enough away from each other where there wasn't like a big risk for anything. So, but those were fun, and I just too few. We did a great little run in end of February, end of March. That was fun. That was great, and we just can't wait till we can do it again.
Do you have any more shows coming up?
Yeah, we have uh, we have this coming weekend, and then November 13 and 14. So the next, obviously, a week from today or a week from yesterday, and that's like the Dayton area, and Fort Wayne, Indiana. Friday, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Saturday is Dayton, and then we were gonna have some Texas shows, the weekend after that. But we're hearing that they're gonna lock down stuff again. It's insane. It's like this virus is 99.8% people survive, and if you're under 60, it's like really low chances, of getting real sick and dying or anything like that. It's just I hope that the economic damage of these lockdowns isn't permanent, but it seems like it will be permanent for at least some people.
Are you doing a show for Proud Boys, and why do you think people don't research what that really means?
It literally Proud Boys is just a pro-Trump group. It's like what Trump thinks. we like what he said, you know. So it's just being proud of him and proud of him winning and getting in there and doing 4 years, challenging the establishment that's been around for decades. I mean, that's just a lot of courage, you know, and that his supporters are proud of him. And so we started. I didn't start it, but I'm part of him now. But you know, a guy named Gavin who he says some controversial stuff, you know, and I think that it was just so like, come on, words are words, you know. But you know, words have an effect for sure. So you have to take that into account. But yeah, it's just a pro Trump group of guys who just want to talk about stuff they want to talk about without fear of getting fired or fear of getting you know ganged up on and ridiculed on the internet, and stuff like that. And that's sad. I mean, you should be able to talk about whatever you want with whoever you want to talk about. It's freedom of speech, but we live in a country where the other side is so emotional that if they hear you say something that isn't perfectly the way they want you to say it, they'll jump down your throats. So a lot of people are afraid to say what they believe. I'm not, and I hope that I can encourage more people to be outspoken in whatever it is they feel they need to say.
When do you think touring will be like? What will be like back the when when do you think touring will be back the way it used to?
Well, it seems to me that there's some mayors or cities that want to have the vaccine already going. So I hope that they just, they wanted to screw Trump, and have the economy not do as well because of these lockdowns, even though the economy's doing great, in the especially places that are open. Uh, so I know that Florida's pretty much all open, so there's going to be lots of trap shows there. I think Texas definitely will be following them closely, Georgia. So I think at least half the states will be pretty much back to normal, especially for um, especially for like shows like that we do, like we're not doing arenas, we're doing like 500 2,000 people, and we do acoustic shows where it's like just a few hundred people, real intimate, just me and our guitar player plays this bongo thing, for the rhythm, and that's real fun. People, like 200 300 people singing every word to all our songs. They know all of them. Those people who go to those shows are real hardcore fans, but it's so fun to just sing and play guitar at the same time with some percussion, bongo, player, and just getting just the real raw element of the song is so fun. So I hope, I know I've got some of those coming, and so we're just gonna do shows where we can, and entertain our fans where we can.
What is your favorite memory from playing the show?
I'd have to say, 2018, we did, about 100 of these acoustic shows, and, yeah, anywhere from 100 to I think 700 or 600 in Houston, and just playing and singing. It took me a while to master it, like it took me a few weeks before I started doing this solo stuff, just me and acoustic, because I felt like I had to be doing it good, before I show people what's up. And because I had to relearn some of these songs so that it was more than just the acoustic. Like the lead guitar lines were in there, and some bass stuff was in there, and well, all with just one guitar. So I had to relearn how to play a lot of these songs, and that was the most challenging thing I think I've ever done. Um, and that was 15 over 15 years into my career, and so I think that some of the moments I've had on stage, just playing and singing like that, um, I just get lost in it. It's just like you can't second guess yourself. You got to practice enough where you can just let it go, and you get to this point where you're like almost like a third person, listening and watching, um, yourself play, and watching the fans like sing along, and noticing all that stuff versus like, let me look at my strings and let me make sure I'm playing this right, so there's nothing more magical than that feeling, just like you're playing perfect, you're vibing, grooving, everybody's singing, and you're just not even worried at all about what you're playing. It's just subconscious, automatic at that point, you know. So that some of the moments I've had, and there was this moment outside of Chicago. Yeah, that Houston show was amazing. So it's just that those were the most fun for me. I think just because they were most challenging, and I had to really give in and not second guess myself. You know.
What was your worst?
I mean, we never had like a boot off stage or any rude people at a show or anything. I mean, I like certain shows that aren't promoted right, and you never work with that promoter again, and you don't get a turnout that you want, But even those are fun. Still, hardcore fans make it to those shows. If it's not promoted right, they're obviously following closely. So I can't really think of like any bad shows. I mean, there's been times where I was sick or my voice was screwed up. Those I hate that. Like if I don't have the full power,
Ever fall?
I have to. Huh?
Ever fall?
Oh yeah, I think I've fallen, but rarely. I think once, one time, and I got back up real quick.
You gotta be like Flash, get up like
that didn't happen.
Like that. You just gotta be so fast. You gotta be like the mummy, like.
Yep, you gotta get up.
You just go Superman style and just jump in midair.
Yep.
What's next for you?
What's next for us? Like we got three really strong tracks that I've written, about my girl, and I'm gonna focus on those and getting those real tight and awesome. And so I think those will come out next year, and we'll just continue releasing singles until we have like enough for an album, and then put out another album. It's whenever we have 12, 13 songs, we package it up and put it out. But I think that we're going to start doing more singles, 5, 6, before we even release the album. I think that's the better way to go.
Now for everyone that's watching here, is there anything you want to say? I mean, like, is there anything you want to get out from your own mouth?
Just that, don't be afraid to be who you are, If people aren't going to let you be who you are, then they're not for you. They're not your friends. They don't care about you if they don't let you have your own opinion. Just because there is a group of people and they all think the same way and all say the same things. I don't know that those people are deep friends if they can't disagree with each other. And still be friends. So just as much as you can, be you and don't apologize for it and say what you have to say because other people are counting on you to do that.
Isn't it very hypocritical though? Very like hypocrite? Is it very hypocritical? Hypocritical? Yeah.
Just what, being yourself or saying what you want?
Like because they're saying like, oh, if you support Trump, you're a demon, but if
well, it's
Biden,
it's literally it's the same thing that white KKK people did to black people, completely dismissing them like they're cockroaches or something. That's what they're taught to hate, just like the KKK people's parents taught them to hate. Well, that's what's happening with these groups of people that are mostly white liberals that are saying, "Oh, well, minorities can't do anything unless we help them," which I feel is so arrogant to all of the minorities that actually have been successful. The victim stuff, it just doesn't help anybody. To think of yourself as a victim, it will not help you. It will keep you stuck where you are. But the hypocritical nature is because they can do it and you can't. Well, all they're trying to do is minimize their enemy into cockroaches so they can step on it.
I hope everyone one watching sees you're a great guy and stops being mean to you and but I think you're awesome, even though if they don't, I always will think you're awesome. You're a pretty cool dude.
That's awesome. I appreciate you very much. Right on. And I, uh, I I I look at Trump and I say, look, that guy's getting so much hatred thrown at him. Um, I I'm getting a fraction of that thrown at me. So I say keep it coming. I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep saying what I feel I need to say on social media.
But don't think they take it a step further, like, so, like, you can say, oh, Trump's a really good guy, and they can be like, well, if you think he's nice, then you're just get out of here. Nobody likes you. And then they insult everybody that disagrees with them,
Yeah,
and then they just want to make them agree with them so they can get them out of the way, or either they just keep doing this, they'll just keep insulting you, or just
yeah.
they'll
They
just
want you to shut up. They want you to go away. They want you not to say how you feel because then other people will say, "Whoa, I agree with him. I agree with that." So they want anybody who's saying stuff that challenges their power. They will try and shut you up, and that's all it is. And the people who are really in power, who own media, that is used to brainwash. That media tells their fans what to think and who to hate, and they look up to these people. So it's like I'm not saying for anyone to go out there and hate liberals or to reduce them to nothing. I reply in the same way that things come at me. You know, if somebody's polite to me and civil, they will get that back and then some, and vice versa. So if you come at me with negative vitriol, you're gonna get it back and then some. So um, I just treated people how I'm treated.
does it bother you that they track your band because of uh your briefs, beliefs?
You
You
know,
think?
I don't mind. I mean, yeah, I'd rather them not to make fun of my band and rip on it all the time. But I know why. It's I know exactly why it's happening. So it's almost like a badge of honor. I know that there's people who think like I do, and they don't think I'm racist or crazy or a bad person. I think they think I'm headstrong, and I can, I can be pretty retaliatory. But for the most part, a lot of people agree with me, and like I agree with Trump, and a lot of people agree with Trump. So there's just tens of millions of people who think like me and Trump and Trump supporters. So you can't ignore us, and I'm not going to allow mainstream media and the entertainment industry to shut me up or shut up anyone who's a Trump supporter and believes that America first is the best policies for our country. I mean, what America second is better, China first is better.
No.
So it just a lot of craziness. But it's just because there's a small amount of people at the top. The way they've been making money for decades has been threatened for the last 4 years, and they've lost a lot of money, and they're pissed about it and they want Trump out. That's it, and that's why they've told their followers to hate anyone who is Trump supporter.
Wait, if Joe Biden wins, can't the China people take over us?
Well, no, but the Democrat Party likes the Chinese system. The Chinese system is just one ruling party telling their people what to do, what to believe. Very censors everything, controls everything. Um, they want that. They like that. So they're kind of like, friends. China's government and the Democrats that would like America to have that same government and have no Republicans to challenge them. So they envy that. And a guy like Biden has made a bunch of deals, and Joe Biden's kid Hunter Biden has made a lot of went over to China and got $1.5 billion to invest in U.S. real estate, and they didn't care if there was any profits or anything. They just used this money to buy off influence. So if they can get close to Joe's kid and even maybe put some money in Joe Biden's pocket, then yeah, that's bad. That means that they have some secret information on our president, and that is bad. So that's another thing that mainstream media has completely. There's a laptop that Joe's son had, and it has all this proof of these deals he's done with Ukraine or China, all this stuff. So there's just a lot of evidence there that the media is just trying to bury, so that Joe Biden wins the presidency, and these lobbyists can make their money again.
You think some of the bands who fought you on Twitter would say it to your face? Do you think they'll say it right in your face? Yeah, people are like, you're
I don't think many will. I think many would be afraid to get in my face and get in my face at all. I don't handle that very well. As much as my words, as much as I use my words, I can definitely defend myself.
Why does everybody, like, since now, because we can only use our computers, everybody's acting like the tough guy here. Like, they're acting the tough guy. Like, I'll check on anyone.
Yeah.
And I'll defend Joe Biden. It's just that they're being so stupid, being so toughy, but they won't do it in person.
They won't.
I don't get it.
So many people have been like, we're going to come to your show and cause havoc, and no, they don't.
And people even threaten, like, they're saying that we will kidnap you, kill you, and then but they won't. But then it actually scares the people, and then they'll stop.
Yeah, I think on social media, there's a lot of people trying to impress their friends, trying to get a pat on the back, with the things they're saying about Trump and Trump supporters, and then they all get together like kids that make fun of other kids, like kids that bully other kids, That's what they're doing. They're just bullying people. So and they're having fun doing it.
When this virus ends, there's gonna be chaos and carnage.
You're gonna be out in the streets.
Huh. How do my followers follow you?
Trapt Facebook page. You just type in Trapt. It's just facebook.com/TRAPT is our Facebook page, and that's probably the best place to follow us. I do a lot of posts there, post music there. Spotify is a great place to listen to music, and Apple Music's great too. So mainly Facebook is, I get on Twitter. Sometimes I don't want my real big fans that are Facebook to even see what I'm saying on Twitter to these jerks, I'd rather them not even see that. So if you want, we're Trapt Official at Twitter, but I'm just much more. It's much more of a good discussion, not like ripping on people on Twitter. Just because I wouldn't rip anyone on Twitter if people were civil to me, or polite to me. Anyone who is, I'm more than willing to have a rational conversation with that person. But Facebook's it's just more civilized there. We have so many more fans on our Trapt Facebook page than on Twitter, because I never really used Twitter before this year, and I did it only to help Trump and to push the ideas that he's pushed, and then pushed back against the hypocrisy that we all keep seeing. That was the biggest reason.
But you're defending yourself, though.
Yeah, I'm defending myself and Trump and his supporters. I'm just sick of the way that these liberals talk about Trump supporters. Like that they say horrible things, and that angers me. It really does. So sometimes it angers me enough, compels me enough to say something to these people. So it's either defending them or myself. But when I defend myself, it's just kind of like, it's just the way that I've always been, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I can say stuff back that's hurtful and this and that, but it's like I feel like if you're insulting me, then you can't be mad if I do it back,
Yeah, but this is like people when they're like, this is people now. Like, they can be like the tough guy, and online they're like, and then they're like,
Oh yeah.
in person.
Oh yeah. Well, look, so much of these kids' lives are spent online. They don't uh, do the in-person thing, and when they do the in-person thing, it's like maybe at like a big show or party or something like that. So I just feel like that it's really kind of it's really messed up the whole I don't know, like just the civility of everything. It's just I don't know. It's just like people their worst demons, the things that they maybe are angry about throughout life. They take out on Trump supporters, or by doing the bullying thing. Like if somebody's been bullied when they were a kid, they want to bully people when they're an adult. And if and a part of them would. I mean, and if they can't be conscious of that, they're going to be very hypocritical. And that's what you're saying.
And they can get all, and they can also get all your link. They can also get all your music and your merch there too.
Trapt.com. Yeah, I would. Yeah, just facebook.com/trapt is like where you would find. Well, I guess on trapt.com, trapt.com, there's ways to buy some of the new music. But our music's on every whatever, if they use iTunes or they use Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, we've got music all over there. So they can find it.
So thank you for being on my show. I hope the next time we talk is at the backstage on one of your shows.
Yeah, man. Please, yeah, I would love for you to come out, bro. You're awesome.
It would really be awesome meeting you.
Well, make sure you send me a link to this because I want to throw it on the Trapt Facebook page.
Awesome.
Right on, brother.